Subscribe or you'll be visited by the toll troll. Is the competency crisis real? Yes, I'm currently in the process of drinking a 12-pack of beers to pass a kidney stone. On hire DEI regards who aren't even fluent in English. Company falls apart. Many such cases? Kind of, maybe. Diversity works in small amounts, but we went way overboard. White men were whipped too hard, and now they're dropping out of society to play video games and stuff. Yes, but power has never been cheaper. I bet the US government never rebuilds the Baltimore Bridge, and it takes a year minimum to remove the debris and wrecked ship. Yes, and big time. I work in IT and finding competent people to fill positions is extremely difficult. Companies ends up settling on brainlets to fill positions knowing they might only be able to do 25% the amount of work as the competent employees, because there's not enough competent people to fill positions. Not only that, but anytime I have to hire a contractor in my personal life, I find it takes several tries before finding one that knows more about the subject than I do. But once I find a good one, I make sure to save them for future use. Yes, removing merit-based employment for diversity destroys complex systems. Zooms and Gen A are getting to high school without knowing how to read or do math. They're phone-addicted TikTok tards that are hoping to make it big via YouTube or OnlyFans or whatever other easy online life. But then companies are screwing up right now, holding American hires and interviewers to high standards, then failing them or firing them and replacing them with cheap jeet-tards, which then cause the companies to fall apart. The reality is every inch of American society is corrupt, and it's resulting in larger and larger levels of regardation. Soon the military will be extremely short-staffed. The majority of companies will be captured by jeet-tards thanks to funny hats. Public schools will basically be even more incompetently run and inefficient, and a checkup at the doctor will bankrupt you. This country is finished. Scrape by on what you can until collapse, then start working on eliminating the useless rabble with what you can or die trying. No, you're imagining that Biden is way too old, and that he says weird things, and that they want him for another 4 years. Very real. This isn't just a diversity problem either, because there are dumb as heck white and Asian people in positions they aren't qualified for. Only hope is that we can solve AI before it happens, where computers and machines will prevent us from having to be subjected to jeets running water plants or programming airplanes for Bo. Yes, but not in the brainlet DEI hire virtue signaling way poll on Non's meme about. It's mostly just large companies cutting labor forces, deciding that a rotating carousel of underpaid wages is better than the competent, institutional knowledge developed when you give proper raises and promotions. Also due to both the internet and consolidation of industries, general customer service and support has been thrown out the window for costing too much. It'll be getting even worse, as now you'll have an LLM chatbot for every task instead of a street pooper in Mumbai, with zero chance of speaking to an actual human for an issue. Yes, and it's far worse if you're expelled. Although I can't tell why they're plotting some war against Freemasons so much. I'm an engineer, and I spend all my time gooning instead of working while working from home. So yeah, probably. No, just tell those minorities that HR insisted on hiring to pull up their bootstraps and to not be afraid of putting in a hard day's work, just like we used to. Remind them that the American dream came true for you, and it will for them as well. Of course, not so back ago. Most giga brains hard to work to use their brain power and do something engaging. Now you have a good part of the most intelligent people addicted to video games, crypto, or just doing content slop to get easy money online. Imagine people like Darwin nowadays. Those autists would spend their lives playing video games, being defeat de gens, writing blogs nobody reads. Yes, but we have AI now, so the hope is that we can still save ourselves. Yes and no. Yes, because people are getting more stupid due to immigration, failing parenting/education system, and a society that rewards stupidity. No, because systems are getting increasingly more complex to understand, leaving fewer and fewer people able to develop the next stage, and are refusing to hire competent people because they give them the ick. Not a team player, only has 8 years experience in something that was only invented 10 years ago. White male, no confidence, too expensive, etc. It is, but it's not just because of diversity hires. It's also because Zoomers are regards. Yes, low IQ joggers poop out kids. Smart people, aka whites and Asians, don't have children. The world average IQ is dropping precipitously, and we won't be able to maintain complex infrastructures. Think of it as a numbers game. Do not fall into the trap of believe competency crisis is about race. That's a trap. Here's how it works. Be a nation. Have 1 million people? 1 out of 10 is mechanically minded. 1 out of 3 is working age. 20,000 people are needed to make an airplane part. 33,000 are able to build airplanes. Begin exporting awesome stuff. DEI time. 1 out of 4 candidates is in the woke group. 8,250 qualified candidates left to fill 20,000 positions. Civilization dies of dysentery. No, it's an already debunked. Paranoid alt-right conspiracy theory cooked up by xenophobic white supremacists and academic studies indicates that diversity and inclusion are actually a strength. As to the reason, I am not sure if the DEI thing is the cause or the consequence here. DEI is in its essence just another tool in the box to depress wages and increase profit margins, and even before the current woke nonsense went completely overboard, waging was already not worth it. The 90s were the last decade a man could truly live. After that, one-way escalator down. First with the dot-com bust and then the 2008 great financial crisis that ended it all. If society asks a man to study hard and on his own dime, and waste away the prime years he has, and then at the end of it gives him a job that excludes home ownership and basis standards of living that even high school dropouts of the past could achieve, while at the same time be expected to work grueling hard jobs of technical competency and long hours, well, under those conditions, anyone with a functioning brain will be like, what the heck am I doing here? They managed to drag the decline via capturing people in debt so they have to work, but even that has run its course now as the new generation very clearly see the scam for what it is. So yeah, this is inescapable death spiral. TLDR, dropping out of society today is simply the smart choice, so smart people quit. I work for a bank that measures yearly profit in billions. We're getting screwed by diversity hiring, and much more by full-on outsourcing to third-world nations. I work on projects for core systems, and the spike in defects, testing failures, system outages, delivery delays are costing us millions in fines. Our biggest shareholder is Vanguard, who also happens to be the biggest shareholder of our next two biggest competitor banks. No one dares say a heckin' world. There's an outright ban on hiring in-country devs in some areas. Boomer here. Let me tell you how things have gotten worse over the past 50 years. Just kidding. People have always been incompetent. Jackasses have always run the show. Stuff gets done anyways. In a way, everyone wants to be better than the other. They try to one-up each other, get higher, better or well, not necessarily better. But to have more holders or buyers, it applies to any sort of business really, not only crypto. But I still do my crap by myself and choose what I want. Like I did with Loafcat some days ago. I don't need a regard telling me this is the best coin. Buy it please to make a choice. I don't know what the heck is competency crisis. I feel like a regard. Yeah, nobody gives a crap anymore, plus brown people everywhere. It's over. Finally, Anglo countries around the world get the taste of their own medicine, and will crumble under consequences of their own actions. Yes, and it's not just less white people. That's having a tangible effect. But it's more so the growth of the matriarchy or feminine thinking. They're nuking standards literally everywhere and passing everyone rather than challenging and failing people appropriately. The black community was just a testing ground for what's now metastasizing everywhere. The coming generations are heavily mothered, either due to totally absent or apathetic/cucked fathers. And of course everyone is glued to a tablet or phone and zombifying early on. It's why 2K plus 25, all the stuff they said would happen will actually happen. Boomers were the last competent working people. Once they retire, it's all circus clowns chosen for any and every reason except technical aptitude. I give her maybe 10 years before total collapse. Bad thing happens because brown person. Heard her DEI, diversity hire, competency crises, etc. Bad thing happens because white person. Actually it's the tiny hats, it was an accident, it's a psyop. No, it didn't really happen. Okay, so maybe it did, but it's not because they were white. It's because globalists/tiny hats/Freemasons, etc.